Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric Carruth Writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 2009 movie titled The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. Now, this movie runs for 2 hours and 3 minutes long. It is directed by Terry Gilliam. It is produced by Terry Gilliam, Samuel Hadida, Amy Gilliam, and William Vince. The script was done by Terry Gilliam and Charles McKeon. The score was done by Jeff and Michael Dana. The cinematography by Nicola Pecorini, the editing by Mick Audsley. It was nominated for 2 Oscars, one for Best Art Direction, which went to the recipients would have been Dave Warren, Anastasia Massaro, and Caroline Smith. And the costumes were done by Monique Prudhomme. She was also nominated for Best Costume Design. The stars of the movie are Heath Ledger. This was his last movie that he was in. He died during the filming of this movie, so that's why it was held back a bit when it came out in the theaters. I think its original intention was to come out around maybe October of 2008, but then because of the delays, because of Ledger's death, they had to sort of stall this one. So the other stars in there include Christopher Plummer, Mini-Me himself, Vern Troyer is also in this movie, Lily Cole, Andrew Garfield of the Spider-Man fames, the amazing Spider-Man franchise, I should say. And the replacement actors during the Imaginarium scenes filling in for Heath Ledger were Johnny Depp, Colin Farrell, and Jude Law. And the money that they got out of this film went straight to Matilda Ledger, who is, of course, the daughter of the late Heath Ledger. So here's the story about how it goes. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus tells the story about a theatrical carnival wagon passing through the city of London, luring both the curious and the obdurate to be a part of their world. Christopher Plummer is, of course, the titular character, Dr. Parnassus. He is a dispirited, whiskered old sage claiming to be 1,000 years old. He has a young daughter named Valentina, played by Lily Cole, who's a young, spunky sprite at 16 years old. And like a flower, she is blossoming out into a very beautiful girl. He is also joined by a young assistant named Anton, played by Andrew Garfield, who happens to be smitten by his young and beautiful daughter. And joining the traveling theater is the feisty, diminutive, but multi-talented Percy, played by Vern Troyer. Hidden esoterically in the wagon is a colorful world, filled with vibrant landscapes. For each guest comes, of course, a price in taking a moral decision. If you choose right, you'll be blessed. If you choose wrong, you'll be condemned. How will you be condemned? Only time will tell. Like you would expect from all Terry Gilliam films, the imagery is purely magical. The pacing is enthralling, and the outcome is very, very entertaining. And granted, this movie can be at times a convoluted mess. I mean, a lot of people were ticked off as to all this colorful confusion, which was quite mesmerizing. They often complained that the story plot was disjointed and awkward, and at times quite indecipherable. But this is a mess with a meaning encrypted behind the fantasy images, which probably might disturb some, but to me, I wasn't at all the least bit disturbed. If anyone can give send-offs better, I guess it would have to be Terry Gilliam. Though ironic at the time, the deceased character depicted here dies as a way to metaphorically say goodbye to one of Hollywood's greats that left us too young and too soon. The haunting image of sheer irony hangs on as we see the late Heath Ledger dead from choking on a noose located at the at the Thames Bridge. Now, if that won't get a lump into your throats, I don't know what will. His character Tony may look dead, but that might be an illusion. He may have a generous side to him, but even that might be superficial. We do know that he's been brainwashed, or maybe just has amnesia. Ledger plays his role with charm and inventiveness, and he really looked like a man whose heart was clearly not leaving this earth too soon. Unfortunately, fate can sometimes play a nasty role in life, and that's just sometimes the consequences that we're all willing to face. I'm sure if he was here today, I'm sure if he was here with us today, Ledger would probably look back and laugh at all the theme park ironies this movie makes up. But whether you liked or hated him, no one can deny that Mr. Ledger had a sly sense of humor and was never really afraid to take risks. I'll take the paper clip out. When Tony decides to be a part of Parnassus's theatrical gang, things start to heat up a bit, which has been dormant for the last few centuries. When the devil himself, who goes by the name of Mr. Nick, played by Tom Waits, the only man who has ever played both God and the devil in cinematic histories. You may have remembered Tom Waits playing God in the 2006 movie Wrist Cutters, a love story. Well, now he arrives on the scene and chaos is not too far behind. Let's just say that the good doctor had made a deal with the devil in that whoever can conjure 5 human souls to the side of the Imaginarium will get the soul of the doctor's pride and joy, Valentina. If Mr. Nick wins, Valentina is his. If Dr. Parnassus wins, Valentina will be safe. Tony definitely seems to have the talent for gathering people into this dimension, and this is where Gilliam's magic really starts to run amok. Though the atmosphere looks high budgeted, it's really actually a misnomer. Even though Gilliam's surreal visuals are overwhelming, they do kind of remind you of the animation that was used prominently during the Monty Python days. When it came time for the Imaginarium sequences to start filming, Ledger sadly passed away, and it left Gilliam to contemplate on some revisions to the script. Every time Tony steps into the Doctor's Imaginarium, he changes through each appearance. An early scenario indicates that through every passage, Tony becomes a physically different person, and the 3 Tonys played by Johnny Depp, Colin Farrell, and Jude Law showed their enthusiasm for playing such a role very poignantly. If Gilliam had his way, he would have turned this awesome trio into what may appear to be pallbearers. But through each sequence, they respectfully pick up what Ledger left off. If that's not a proper burial, I don't know what the hell is. Although Ledger left us, the film truly will live on, and it kind of reminds me of the more recent films that Gilliam has been making. Clunky, half-baked ideas, and oversaturated with visual eye candy to give your pupils diabetes. I will say this though, at least. Vern Troyer is not utilized as an Austin Powers prop, and here he's actually showcasing great acting to actually be taken seriously. There's no mini-me in this movie. There's nobody really constantly ostracizing him of his small stature. He is playing it big, and that's the way it should be. The intention of this movie is that Gilliam is trying to prove that even in our modern life, where reality is top priority, the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus proves that we can still embody imagination like our ancestors did more frequently in the past. Gilliam truly directed this film with heart, and rightfully so. This movie states that it's alright to shut down our reality and let our imaginations take over, even if it's just for 2 hours. And I say this in the memory of Heath Ledger. Even though he's been dead for 8 years, he's still missed in the Hollywood community, and he will never be forgotten. He will always truly be in our hearts, and I hope that he will always be in your hearts as well. Here's a man who definitely had a lot of potential in the future. It's just a shame that, he died, and he will always be missed. And I think if this was a pretty decent send off, this definitely would be the one for him. And I gotta give a hands out to Johnny Depp, Colin Farrell, and Jude Law for showcasing that these guys are selfless individuals, and that whatever pay they got from this movie, they gave it to his daughter, Matilda, and I'm sure that surely put a smile on her face. And I hope that she and Michelle Williams keep this movie within their memories forever. As well as his other movies too, like The Patriot, The Dark Knight, and of course one of my personal favorites. Even though he wasn't in there a long time, he still made an impact. I'm talking about the 2001 movie Monsters Ball. He was really, really good in that movie. Here's a talent that has gone too soon and too fast, but he will never be forgotten. So I guess this ends my Rider review. Thank you all for listening in. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, please feel free to do so. If you'd like to leave a comment, go right ahead. Just remember, be kind, be courteous, and don't be rude. And I will be back again with another movie review. So until next time, this is Eric Corrupt Rider saying keep watching those movies, and I'll see you around. Goodbye.